Welcome to sportsbookreview.com. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And today's show is about top 10 coaches and teams against the spread against ranked teams over the last 3 seasons in college football. Here's the little caveat. I had to make sure that they had at least 7 games played because, you got a team like Army that's played 3 ranked teams and covered against all. We're not tossing that in. If you got a G5 school that's only played 1 ranked team in 3 years and they covered, that's a 100% win clip. But that's not a trend. That's not something you can take to the bank. So we're just going to go on and start this thing off. We're going to let it roll. We got 3 guys tied for number 9. I didn't want to get all the way to number 10, so I said, all right, 3 guys tied at number 9 because of the winning percentage here.
That's right.
So with that said, now this is coaches against the spread versus ranked teams. Brian Kelly, Notre Dame, 10-5. That's 66.7% winning clip. That's not bad at all. 9-6 straight up against ranked teams. Went 3-3 in 2017, 4-1 last year. 4-1 in 2018, 3-1 in 2019. So, yeah, not too shabby. Not too shabby. We like Notre Dame. Now the other 2, we're moving to the SEC here. Kirby Smart in Georgia, 12-6. Ed Orgeron in LSU, 12-6. Not bad at all against ranked teams. They both show up against good teams. That's always a good thing.
You're going to play a lot of ranked teams in the SEC.
I will say this, though. LSU, 14-4 straight up. Georgia, 12-6 straight up against ranked teams. It's kind of gone a different direction for both teams. LSU started out 2-2 against the spread against ranked teams in 2017, while Georgia was 5-1, and then it started to flip. LSU went 5-2 against the number the next year. Georgia went 4-2. 2019, last year, LSU 5-2, Georgia 3-3. So those 2 trends are crossing. LSU on the way up, Georgia on the way down. Who knows what it means this season, obviously.
That's right.
But those are 2 teams to pay attention to. Let's move on to number 8. Not your favorite guy.
This shocked me. Hang on now. Listen, I don't hate on Texas too bad. I don't hate on Hom too bad. I wouldn't pick him in a fight against Mike Gundy.
No, not at all.
But does that hate? I mean, is that hate?
I don't think
know.
It's hate. No.
I know a lot of people that would pick in a fight against Gundy. I mean, I'd take my guy. But.
Well, yeah. I mean, you take Coach O. For those that are first-time watchers, LSU, Alabama. There you go. Make sure you hit subscribe because we're going to be here all year.
Everybody in the world would take Coach O against Nick Saban in a fist fight.
Well, yeah. There's like 20-something years difference there.
He's a 60-year-old man.
Yeah, he's almost 70.
At some point in time, you're just beating up an old man.
Yeah.
I got you.
That's kind of what it was last year in Tuscaloosa.
Let's get back to Tuscaloosa.
Just wasn't even fair.
That made me feel so
Tom
bad.
Herman.
Thank you for pandering to me.
And the Texas Longhorns, 11-5-1 against ranked teams against the the last 3 seasons.
This shocks me. This just shocks me.
Well, here's the deal. The trend went down last year, right?
Yeah, and here's what helps. They cover and have had a pretty good record against Oklahoma.
Yes.
And that's a team that they have played outside of last year twice the last 2 years. They're always dogs against them.
Oh, yeah.
And Oklahoma's always, whether they're a dog or a favorite, it's irrelevant in this. Oklahoma's always ranked.
Yes.
And so that gives them a little caveat because they've done well against that team.
Oh, most certainly. 11-5 or 11-5-1, 68.8%. Look, straight up 8-9. That's not great, but maybe they'll do something this season, kind of switch things around. They've got new coordinators, all kinds of guys coming in. They brought in a new offensive coordinator from Ohio State. So we will see what happens with that. But yeah, 4-1 in 2017 against the number, 5-1-1 in 2018. Last year, 2-3. Did not show up in the big spots last year, but had to deal with a bunch of injuries on defense, all that kind of stuff. It was a little different. So number 6, staying in the same conference, Mike Gundy.
This guy's just a good bet all the way around.
We love the mullet. He's always fun. If you watch our other videos, we have a lot of fun talking about Mike Gundy. He is about as enjoyable a head coach as you are going to find at the collegiate level, maybe even at the professional level. I mean, he's just unbelievable.
To bet on, especially. His teams are exciting.
Yes.
His style of play is a lot of fun to watch.
Yes.
He's not boring football, and they score a lot, and they hang with really good teams. They beat up on bad teams. They're exciting football.
10-4 against the number, 71.4% winning percentage, 8-6 straight up. So that's not great, but it ain't bad either. I mean, you got a winning record against ranked teams. That's pretty good. 2-2 against the spread in 2017, 5-0 in 2018, 3-2 in 2019. Trending in the right direction. Obviously, they got some major league talent coming back with Wallace and Chuba Hubbard.
This team is loaded.
Spencer Sanders, and they got some guys. Number 6, also tied here, Philip Montgomery, Tulsa. This was a little bit shocking, and he just barely made it in to that 7 games. But 5-2 against the spread against ranked teams with as bad as Tulsa has been. I know they covered against Memphis last year. They covered against UCF. They beat UCF last year. So, they've done good things. They're 0-7 straight up, but 5-2 against the number. Incredibly undervalued in these spots, and they show up in these primetime things. 1-2 against the spread in 2017, 1-0 in 2018, and 3-0 last year. So maybe he's turning things around. Remember, he had a 10-win season not that long ago, and then everything just fell out from under him. Next up, number 4, or tied for number 4 here, Dabo Swinney and Clemson, 10-4, 71.4%, 12-2 straight up against ranked teams, 4-2 in 2017, 4-0 in 2018, 2-2 last year against the number against ranked teams. But you're paying a premium at this point. It's just absurd. It's difficult to get them to cover. They cover everything, it feels like.
Yeah. Well, mostly. And they don't play a lot of ranked teams.
Yeah.
They played 4 the last 2 years, and 3 of those were in championship games.
2 SEC teams, 1 against Ohio State, and the other one was Virginia in the ACC
championship game.
Yeah.
They didn't play a single and then that one ranked team was A&M.
And they weren't ranked at the end of the year.
At the beginning of the season, in week 1, they were ranked.
Yeah.
By week 4, they weren't ranked.
Yeah, you got that right. Number 2, tied for number 2. I guess that would be number 3, whatever you want to say. Dino Babers. Syracuse, 7.
No. We skipped one.
Did I skip one? Oh,
Matt Campbell.
So sorry.
Tied for 4.
Matt Campbell.
No, can't forget Iowa State.
No, you got that right. Number 4, Iowa State's Matt Campbell.
As Clemson, 10-4.
10-4 against the spread against ranked teams, which is kind of absurd if you look at the talent difference between those 2 teams.
Yeah.
But 71.4%, 7-7 straight up, 5-0 as a against ranked teams in 2017. So they were vastly undervalued.
That's when he made his money.
Yes.
That's when Matt Campbell showed the world, hi, I'm here, and we at Iowa State are not going to take it anymore.
Yeah. Now, you got that right. So he made his money that season, 5-0 against ranked teams against the number, 3-2 in 2018, 2-2 last year. So not great, but it goes to show that they have kind of turned the corner in Ames.
Yep.
And we'll keep an eye on this, but that trend of them covering against ranked teams may be going down here. But we'll keep paying attention. We'll see what's up. Dino Babers, number 2, tied for 2 at Syracuse, 7-2 against the spread, 77.8%. That is ridiculous. He coaches that team up whenever they play a big time game.
Yeah. And Syracuse usually being the lesser of talented teams in all of those ranked team games that they're going to play. To be able to play up to the level of competition that they do. Last year, struggled. 2 years before that, always a good bet, and a guy we like.
Yes. 2017, 4-0 against ranked teams. 2018, that was the year that they won 10 games, went 3-1 against the number against ranked teams. Last year, played 1 ranked team. It was Clemson. Clemson broke like a 40-yarder to cover 28.5 or whatever the spread was.
Big number.
Yeah, I was very disappointed in that. Obviously, had a lot riding on Dino.
That's all right.
Didn't work out for me, but they only played 1.
We did really well the last 2 years betting on Syracuse.
Oh, yes, we did. The 2 years before that, we caught up to them. We figured out what they were doing. Obviously, we like their offense and whatnot. Tommy DeVito did not run it well last year, but it's all good. It's a new season. We will get there. Number 2 on this.
Tied for 2 still.
Tied for 2. Mark Stoops and the Kentucky Wildcats.
This one surprised me as well.
They show up for big-time games. 7-2 against the spread, same as Syracuse. 77.8% covering. 3-6 straight up against ranked teams. It's kind of ridiculous to do at Kentucky.
Yep,
it's just tough.
Because the ranked teams are not, like, a lot of these teams are playing teams in the 20s and in the teens, and when you're Kentucky, the ranked teams that you're playing in the SEC are Georgia, 1, 2, 3 in the country.
Yeah.
Florida, top 10 in the country. You get a crossover against an Auburn and Alabama and LSU or an A&M. It's tough.
Yes.
To get the W, hard. Covering a lot of numbers, though.
Covering a lot of numbers because they are still, for whatever reason, completely undervalued. And this is a defensive coach that can keep those numbers low scoring.
Last year with a wide receiver playing quarterback, the majority of the season covered a lot of numbers.
Ran for 500-something yards against
Covered a lot of numbers.
Just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Finally, number one, before we get into a couple of special circumstances, number one, Jeff Brom, Purdue. Been on a lot of these lists.
He was on every list so far, and there's no reason to take him off.
No, he is number one here. Purdue went 8-1 against the spread against ranked teams the last 3 seasons, and it's only getting better as we go forward. It's 88.9%. Again, you just bet on Purdue against ranked teams, or as an underdog, or
as a favorite. It just doesn't matter.
Just bet on them. They just
cover a lot of numbers.
Yes, only 3-6 straight up. So maybe not money line them, but
I got hurt 2 years ago to pull that money line dog out betting on them, but I did well just riding Brom.
2017 went 2-1 against the number, 3-0 the last 2 seasons. So 3-0 in 2018, 3-0 in 2019.
He's just a great coach.
It's unbelievable.
Purdue, crazy smart kid school.
Yeah,
that's a tough place to win a lot of games, and he's doing really well.
You have got that right. A coach that is no longer in college football, so we didn't want to toss him on this list, Jeff Tedford. Fresno State, 6-0 against the spread against ranked teams over the last 3 seasons. Now, he did not face a ranked team in 2019.
That's right. They were all the 2 previous years.
5-0 in 2017 and 1-0 in 2018. Those were the 2 years that Kalen DeBoer was his offensive coordinator. Kalen DeBoer, he was the offensive coordinator at Indiana last season, and now he is coming back. He is going to be the head coach. Indiana last year, 4-2 against the spread against ranked teams. Pretty good. So
Pretty good.
You would like to think that the trend will continue. Obviously, you're going to have talent down there, but either way. And finally, a team that had 2 different head coaches but faced quite a few ranked teams. Mark Richt and Manny Diaz with the Miami Hurricanes, 6-3 against the spread against ranked teams the last 3 years. That's 66.7%. Look, went 5-4 in the games. Not bad.
Not terrible. Not what the U used to be, but
no,
not terrible.
Not at all. But 3-2 against the spread in 2017, 1-1 in 2018, and then 2-0 in Manny Diaz's last year. So, in first year.
First year, yeah.
Last season. That was super surprising to me. Super surprising. So, with that said, that's going to wrap that up. Of course, if you want to see more sports content, visit sbrpicks.com or click the links in the description to stay on top of all the content SBR has for you. For sportsbookreview.com, I'm Gary.
I'm Chris.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the show.